Shalom family, viewer update. The Benaiah Israel channel is moving over to Rumble. Please join us over on our new platform. You can find a link in the description to our new Rumble channel called Hidden Hebrews. Hope to see you there, family. Shalom. Far away in the distant lands along the east coast of North America lies the territory of the Black Indians, that is, the Pequot Indians. Hidden away in the dense forests on America's eastern shores lies an Indian village tucked away from the conspicuous eyes of the pale-skinned colonizers, who but recently arrived on these distant shores. A precursor to a much larger, more dangerous incursion, one that would later prove outright deadly for the peaceful native populations. After the English made landfall, the native Pequot Indians reached out to their arch rivals, the Narragansetts, in an attempt to dissuade them from joining forces with these foreign invaders. For they knew that eventually these invaders would take everything. As the following reference reads, in the meantime, the Pequots, especially in the winter before, sought to make peace with the Narragansetts and used very pernicious arguments to move them thereunto, as that English were strangers and began to overspread their country. And would deprive them thereof in time, if they were suffered to grow and increase. And if the Narragansetts did assist the English to subdue them, they did but make way for their own overthrow. For if they were rooted out, the English would soon take occasion to subjugate them. And so, unfortunately, the Narragansetts did not take heed to the warnings of the Pequots, for they joined themselves with the English in making war against the brown-skinned Pequot native brothers to massacre them. As the following reference reads, the Pequots were retired into two strong forts, one of which was situated on the banks of the river Mystic, and the other about 8 miles further was the headquarters of Sassacus, their sachem, at whose name the Narragansetts trembled, saying he was all one a god. Nobody could kill him. The council of war determined to attack the first fort they should come at, which the Indians took care should not be that of Sassacus. They made their approaches to it in the night, and sent an Indian to observe the posture of the enemy, who found them all in a profound sleep. The army came up to the fort about the break of day. Captain Mason, with his company, posted himself on the east and Underhill on the west. But the Narragansetts, like cowards, retired to such a distance as to be only spectators of the action. When the army came within a rod of the fort, a dog barked and awakened the sentinel, who immediately ran away and cried, Manooks, Manooks, i.e. English, English. The soldiers entered the fort at a passage, which was only blocked up with bushes about breast high. Captain Mason was the first man that leapt into it and made good his ground till his men could pull the bushes away. Upon this followed a sharp engagement, in which several of the English were wounded and many of the Indians killed. But the houses of the fort, being made of nothing but combustible mats, joined close to one another, the English set them on fire and retired, posting themselves at all the avenues to hinder the enemies making their escape. Now, family, just a quick side note, this is similar to the fall of Jerusalem, where Esau cut off the escape of Judah during the fall of Jerusalem. However, that's a story for another day. As we continue to read, and it reads, "The fire by the advantage of the wind carried all before it. Many were burnt to death, which the Narragansetts from a distant rising ground, where they had posted themselves, beheld with infinite pleasure and satisfaction, dancing and whooping all the while, and insulting over their dying enemy. Some of the Pequots were shot as they were climbing over the palisades. They who had the courage to sally out at the gate in order to break through the enemy were either cut off by the English or the Narragansetts." And the next reference reads, and it reads, "It was conceived they thus destroyed about 400 at this time. It was a fearful sight to see them frying in a fire, and streams of blood quenching the same. And horrible was the stench sent thereof. But victory seemed a sweet sacrifice, and they gave the prayers thereof to God, who had wrought so wonderfully for them, thus to enclose their enemies in their hands, and give them so speedily a victory over so proud and insulting enemy." Now, eventually, after helping the English destroy the Pequots, inevitably the English would also subjugate the Narragansetts, thus making the English the new masters of North America. And upon massacring the native population, the English set aside a day of thanksgiving to give thanks to their God for delivering to them such a great victory. As the following reference reads, and it reads, "A day of thanksgiving kept in all the churches for our victory against the Pequots." And the next reference reads, and it reads, "There was a day of thanksgiving kept in all the churches for the victory obtained against the Pequots and for other mercies. The magistrates of Plymouth officially ordered such days to be kept as early as 1623, and in 1637 an ordinance was passed, that it be in the power of the governor and assistants to command solemn days of humiliation and also for thanksgiving, as occasion should be offered." You see, family, these days of thanksgiving were later consolidated into a single day by Abraham Lincoln, during a time in which the so-called Negro was still a slave in America. And with that, family, now you know the origin of Thanksgiving Day. Shalom.